teaching on tonight is goal setting for the quarter. And I'm loving that I'm seeing some notepads and pens out because I'm going to be asking you to write some things down. So be forewarned if you need a scrap paper or borrow it from your friend. That is going to be great. Okay, so here is a quote, and it says, "Human beings are target-oriented in nature. We are like guided missiles. Without a goal or target, we wander aimlessly in the horizon and eventually self-destruct." Ooh. So those of us that are kind of wandering around doing our business and kind of wondering why it is that we didn't end up where we thought that we wanted to aim, that could be why. We didn't have a very, very clear-cut target of what it is that we were aiming at. So here, I want to just ask you, how do you determine what it is that you're aiming at in your Mary Kay business? What is it going to be based on money? Are so many people doing business, this Mary Kay business, because they're looking for a dollar amount? Are you starting this business, are you working this business because you need to replace some income, or you want to replace some income? Are you, if that's the case, have you figured out actually how much money? Is anybody here wanting to replace the job, replace some income? Okay, yes? Or anybody else? Go ahead and keep your hands raised. Is anybody here to make extra money? Yes? Does everybody in this room have their own housekeeper? No? I heard, yay. For the rest of us, if we have plenty of money but we don't have a housekeeper, we do not have plenty of money. Unless you are just totally a fanatic about cleaning your house, which, let that go, sit back, and we wrote down, how do you determine what you're aiming at? Is it based on money? Is it based on meeting new people? Is it based on prizes? What determines what you're aiming at? And then write down what motivates you. When I first started this business and I had to write down my why it is that I was doing this, I really could not come up with a great reason. I just really didn't. But now it is crystal clear what it is that I'm working towards. So for me, money doesn't necessarily motivate me. However, I need to find something that does, because Mary Kay is paying our bills, and I'm very excited about that. And it would be really important for me to find out what does motivate me if it's not money and we need money as the end result, right? Okay. Well, for me, what motivates me is not necessarily the star prizes, okay? It isn't necessarily the 650 girlfriend dates. What motivates me is National Court of Sales, okay? No, this is a ring. I know it's not, you pass it around. National Court of Sales. That is something when I went to seminar and I saw those girls up there on stage, in their gowns, walking down, picking up that National Court of Sales, it was that kind of prize and that kind of recognition. Well, if I am focused on that as a prize, am I going to be a star? Yes? Okay. Am I going to finish the 650 girlfriend dates consistently?
Yes.
Okay. If I work at full circle, will I end up earning a car?
Yes.
Okay. And then, of course, the other prizes that the director challenges me, I'm going to be one to finish that. Now, that may not be your goal. That may not be the thing that totally trips your trigger. However, it was me, and it served me really well. Okay? Just knowing what it was that motivated me. So I encourage you, find out. Now, what is it? Another quote, and it says, "There are some people who live in a dream world, and there are some who face reality. And then there are those who have a plan for turning one into the other." Okay, so what we're going to do today, we're focusing on what it is that we need, which could create the dream, because when we think about what is it going to be that dream is going to give us. Is it a lifestyle? Is it getting to spend time with our man? Is it getting to go on the vacations that we want to go on? So really thinking through clearly what it is that we want our life to look at, what we want it to be like. Okay, you're going to be looking at my plan of action. Now, in there it has bookings, new customers, retail sales, and wholesale. boxes on this page, and I will tell you what, the first look, this can be totally overwhelming. Has anybody used one of these successfully before, from beginning to end? Okay, kind of, okay. This is on In Touch. It isn't a director's thing. It is under contests and, I don't know, contests and something. Yeah. And then you just go to quarter 2, and this is called a success sheet, and you can print it out. So what I want you to do is think about what is most important to you when you are looking across this plan of action. Is it, okay, Sheila, you don't understand, I'm really, really, really busy. Okay? Well, maybe for you it's going to be, the most important thing is going to be how many appointments you hold in a week. Is it going to be, I can only hold 2, and that would be your starting point. Is it going to be wholesale, because you're working on your star? You're going to break that down. Is it how much profit or income based on your financial needs? So what I want you to do is just go ahead and circle which is the most important thing to you at this time of your life, because that is going to be your starting point. Is it the number of bookings because you feel it your time? Is it how about building new customers because you are looking at building a relationship with phenomenal women? Is it your retail sales that ends up in a $1 paycheck? Or is it the prize? Because when you come over here and look at the section, the wholesale section 1, that is going to be in direct correlation with your prize. If you're just all about, Sheila, I don't need the money, I don't need the friends, I'm just in this for the prizes, that is where we're going to end up. Okay? So we're going to start with what's most important for you. Now, are most people in this room in this business to make money? I think that's what we had agreed with, right? So I'm going to go ahead and do the math based on your sales. And this is where, for those of you that are like, okay, I will write down what you say and then later figure it out, that's okay for me because it took me a little bit to go through the math on this. So if you know that it's a dollar amount that you need in profit, I'm just going to give you some numbers here. For example, retail sales for the week. If by chance you know that you want to make, I'm going to give you the end and then start back, okay? Let's say that you want a random number like $1,760 of profit a month, okay? Because you want to pay for the mortgage payment, and you want to do some insurance, and you want to have that housekeeper, and you want to just say, hey, honey, this business does work, right? Wouldn't you just totally be blessed if you just took over the mortgage payment, right? Okay, and then some? Okay, so we're starting with that number. Well, how do we go about figuring out how many parties I need to hold? How many faces do I need to hold based on that number? The company has an average of $100 per face, if by chance you are trained. Now, what happened with me when I started my business, I started right off with doing 30 faces. 30 faces. Now, when I first started, it wasn't necessarily at that number, but what you can do is you can go back and look at what your averages are per face. That does not mean that you've taken care of 3 faces and you average them. Okay, 3 is not, have you ever had to take 3 tests and they average those versus if you had, 8, 9, or 10 tests, it's going to be in your favor more, hopefully, if you're studying, right? Okay, so for this, we're going to want to take an average of about 30 faces and then take a look at and how much dollar per face. And then we can come back and do this. So for me, what I did was I knew that I wanted to end up with this kind of profit. And that was doing what's called a 60-40 split. Has anybody heard 60-40? Now, how much profit do we make? 50, right? Now, do we not need a little bit of extra money for gas in our car and Section 2 things and lookbooks and Red Jacket Rally that's coming up, your fall advance, all of those things? That doesn't come out of your family's budget. That comes out of your Mary Kay budget. So what I did, I'm going to start now with retail and just do the math, and you can come back and figure this out later, because really this is just a tiny bit of what I want to get at with you guys tonight, okay? So what I found was that if I did $1,100 retail in a week, $1,100 retail in a week, of course there's 4 weeks, so that would be times 4 weeks, is $4,400 in retail sales for the month, right? Okay. Now I'm going to divide that by 2 because I want to figure out how much my wholesale order is, because I always put 50% back into the, I order back 50% of what I sold, right? So my wholesale order is going to be $2,200. Well, I'm going to go back now at that 4,400 and multiply it times 40% to figure out what my profit is. And that's going to take me to the 1760 is my profit. Now, if you're doing those numbers, okay, I spent 2,200 on product. I took out 1,160 for my profit. There's going to be a difference of 440 left that is going to be into a business account where you can pay for things like rent coming in, raffle, woohoo, that may be a little bit of extra, and then of course these other events. So if ever you're wondering, okay, how do I pay for seminar? Sell something. Okay, that's the answer. I know seminar is a little bit of ways, but the go-give advance is right here. All right, so then you're going to say, Sheila, how on earth did I come up with $1,100? Right? Okay, so that is through the math. How many faces do I need to do in a week to come up with that 1,100? 11. Okay? Now, I can either have one really, really big party and have 11 faces in it if I'm totally time crunched. If I need $1,760 profit, however, I'd have a little bit of time, that one party needs to be pretty massive, right? Or, in this number of bookings, I could put 3. Okay? Because if a party is the hostess plus 2, I'm totally kind of losing some of you, but I'm kind of purposefully flying through this. You can go back and figure this out. The thing to know is take your average per face and figure out how many faces you need to do to get to the profit that you need to make, or to the star. Okay? I don't even want to ask questions right now because what I'm about to, I want to just blow through this. At the end, we're going to have time for that. Okay. So then, what I want to do is just ask you a couple questions. From this right here, you're going to be able to take this information that we did in your action plan and figure out how many parties, how many bookings you're going to hold, what your retail sales are going to be to give you the profit that you're looking for. Then you go to the top. Then you can figure out what my goal this quarter is going to be. See it up at the top? Wholesale section 1. Contest qualified new personal team members. Does anybody know what that means? The contest qualified new personal team members?
New team member that orders a minimum of 600 wholesale.
Yes. Yes, when you have, say it, for quarter, that's right. When you have a new team member that comes in as qualified, that means that they place at 600 wholesale. Then when you are a star, as soon as you hit 1,800 on your own, then you now get 600 points, star credits towards that. So if you're working on moving up to a really big star prize, you can do your part, and then you're recruiting, and they're becoming qualified, and that bumps you up. If you're only at 1,200 wholesale, will that 600 points get you up to star?
You have to be a sapphire through the wholesale first.
That's correct. You have to be a sapphire first, and then you can accumulate those star prizes. Okay, this is something that I know we just did some writing on, but I encourage you, your challenge today in the next 24 hours is going to be figure out what your goal is. My challenge from the director today is to figure out what your goal is and what your plan of action is. And if you want a new one of these, I showed you where to find it.